There are growing concerns over the rise of monkeypox cases in Europe and North America. Experts say the disease has not been previously seen among humans. Now, to better understand the disease, I'm joined by Professor Ramneek Ahluwalia, who is the Higher Health CEO. Professor Ramneek, very good afternoon. Thanks for speaking to us. Now, until a few days ago, I'd never heard of monkeypox.
In fact, thank you and good afternoon to everyone. When COVID-19 hit us in 2020 March, it was a very unfamiliar virus to us. But on the other side, actually, monkeypox is something we know about. It's been there in existence for quite a number of decades. Human mankind knows about it. Our scientists are aware of it. So it's not something which is not known. Very endemic, found in Western and Central Africa. Outbreaks have been very frequent, predominantly a zoonotic disease. What zoonotic means is spreads from an animal to human with a very close proximity of our human with animal like rats and rodents, including monkeys, where it obviously gave its origin from because it infects monkeys a lot. And when the close proximity is there for a very long time between humans, we do see the virus moving into humans. But what's surprising is that it has never moved out of the continent and moved out of its barriers and seen spreading quite not very quickly, but quickly in Europe as well as the United States, which is beyond, we've never seen this. However, in 2003, there was an outbreak of monkeypox among the United States residents, about 46 people. So these have been outbreaks with single-digit or double-digit numbers, outbreaks, very easily contained. But what we are now watching is, has this monkeypox virus, which comes from the dangerous smallpox virus family, has it mutated? Has it a different variant? However, as much as an initial research data has come, it's coming from Western African strain, which is something which is not too fatal compared to the Central African strain that we've seen in the past. So it's a very important time for the scientific world to watch. It's spread more faster than it has ever spread. It's spreading beyond continents. So something for us to concern, but I think no panic for now.
Okay, well, I suppose it's also important to note that a few days ago it was just a number of cases. Now we're up to 80 cases across 12 countries, none of which are on the African continent. Any idea as to how it's spreading?
So predominantly it spreads from, as I said, rats, rodents, monkeys, where a human has a very close proximity touch, which can be through a fluid contact, blood contact. It can be also possible through uncooked food. So there are lots of ways of human getting this virus in close proximity to an animal.
But how does it spread from one human to the next? I know that British scientists are battling at the moment, but they seem to suggest that it might be through it might be transmitted sexually.
Absolutely. So blood-to-blood contact, fluid contact, staying long hours of close proximity, sexual transmitted possibility. These are all the ways, but it's not as fast spreading or an airborne like the COVID viruses. So it's not what we have known from the history of monkeypox is it's not a very extremely fast spreading virus. But what we have to watch is this viruses mutate, as we've seen in COVID. We've seen different variants coming. What we are going to watch is, has monkeypox from the Western African strain, which we would always see now has moved to Europe and spreading quite quickly from Europe and moving to America? Well, there's a lot of travel in between the individuals. How the human-to-human transfers are happening. Possibility through sexual transmitted infection, as you rightfully said, body contact, fluid contact. And these are, but it has to take a very long proximity of individuals to spread. So it's an outbreak, should be contained. It's not an epidemic, not a pandemic like a COVID-19. It's not airborne at this moment, which is what we saw. Human body has a immune system for monkeypox because we've got a vaccine for smallpox. So we should think that the vaccine will be preventative. So it's not going to be difficult for human mankind to crack the virus like the way it took us difficult time for COVID-19 because it was so unfamiliar for us. So these are some positives that we should be looking into for now. But what we need to watch is, Has it mutated? Is there another variant of monkeypox? And has it formed a human-to-human transmission? So far, unlikely, but we have to watch this.
Now, how does it manifest in the affected party?
So it's fever. It's very much like how a virus does: fever, fatigue, headaches, body aches, but most importantly, a rash. The predominant part of monkeypox is a rash. Very familiar with monkeys, where it spreads, and you can see it's like chickenpox kind of vesicles that formed all over your body, a huge rash that can come. It depends on how the seriousness of the virus affects your human body. We've seen about the strain currently that's in question is about 1% fatality, which means, yeah.
Now, we know that smallpox, from where this is drawn, was vaccination from smallpox, I think, was suspended many years ago. Does this kind of, in some way, open us up to possible infection?
Definitely. It's a bit of a concern on that ground, because smallpox was a very deadly disease. It took us centuries and decades of immunization, work hard, and eradicating smallpox, which means monkeypox comes from the same family. We have to just watch, is this just a small outbreak? Will it be contained? Well, it's not small, because it's already, as you said, 80 patients have already been identified in 12 countries. But most importantly, the incubation period is about 21 days, which means for the next 20 days, we'll be watching very closely of how the data and the science will move forward with the number of people becoming infected and how many countries start getting grappling through the travels and people mingling with together, and how this variant is displaying itself. But on the other side, smallpox vaccine should work. We know what this monkeypox is. We should be able to crack it. And should there be a need, or should it alleviate in the form from outbreak into an epidemic, we should be then looking into vaccinations and building resilience into our bodies.
Is it fatal? Has it killed anyone at the moment, or are you aware of that?
No cases yet. Well, it's too early signs, very early signs. But, you know, irrespective, monkeypox, as much as we've known from many decades, has a fatality. The Western African strain, which we're currently looking into, has a fatality rate of only 1%, which is even lower than COVID. So we should not be looking into, we should be watching from there. The only challenge has been is the outbreaks that we've seen from the Central African strain, which existed in many decades, has a 10% fatality, which is slightly higher, which means if 100 people of detected cases, 10 do die in the Central African strain, while only 1 dies out of 100 cases, as compared to the current one. Still worrying sign. Every life is precious at the end of the day. We haven't seen yet, so it's early days, but we should be keeping a very close watch on how the monkeypox changes its shape, how does it move together. Still believe it's an outbreak, still believe it's going to be contained.
Now, France, Germany, Belgium, the UK, Portugal, the US are some of those countries that have cases of monkeypox. So if an individual is intending to travel to those destinations, should they worry? Are there any preventative measures that they should institute before they travel?
As you rightfully said, very close proximity with people who have rash, people who have fever. Try to avoid sexually transmitted ways. Try to avoid contacting body fluids. It spreads through contact in particular. So one has to watch. In reality, the numbers are too small at this moment, so no panic, no worries. Just be watchful. Just look at when you're traveling to Europe or US with individuals who have a rash on their faces or showing fever. Just try not to have close proximity with those individuals for now.
Okay, so I suppose we should all pack magnifying glass when we go out to those areas. But is there no medication that you can take, assuming that you can't tell if Professor has a rash or Hugo has a rash?
So the important point is, first of all, it's only about 80 cases. Yes, the question is going forward is within the next 21 days, how is the outbreak going to go? Because the incubation period is still going on, which means the virus is in humans or many people, and they're going to show symptoms as we go. The thing is that, as I said, it's not an airborne disease where one has to be very cautious about at this stage. However, data and science will tell us from this human-to-human possible transmission, because what so far monkeypox has been known is an animal-to-human transmission, not a human-to-human, which means people in close proximity to animals get into it because of that reason. But because the way we have seen this 80 within a few days and spreading into other continents, what we as scientists are watching is the human-to-human wave. For now, at this moment, absolutely, I would not worry. I still believe it's an outbreak because of our intense travel and a lot of travel between US and Europe. There's a high possibility of the virus moved into the United States, where it originated from what we call it in Europe. And there has been a small travel history linked to Nigeria for the first case that was identified. So we do believe that possibly these are cases which are like we see outbreaks in measles, we see outbreaks of cholera, we see outbreaks of chickenpox. This possibly be an outbreak of monkeypox, but possibly contained with time. And that is exactly our hope will be. But the question will be is the human-to-human transmission and how it spreads.
Professor Ramneek Ahluwalia, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. And he was unpacking that issue for us around monkeypox, which is spreading overseas, mainly Europe and parts of the United States.